Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 10 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your future FPL planning. Download the app at all your usual downloading app places. Over the next 56 minutes or so, I'll be answering as many of your FPL questions as possible ahead of the 11 a.m. deadline. As per usual, questions will be answered in order. Submission, repeat / similar questions may well be skipped. Let me take you through some of the graphics because that's going to answer a lot of your questions first and foremost. Firstly, my team, top right-hand corner, 8 Nori bought in for Nedeljkovic on Monday. The other transfer rolled. That's the plan. I am lining up currently as Raya, Porro, Alexander-Arnold, 8 Nori, Saka, Bumo, Palmer captain, and Garnacho, Watkins, Solanke, Jackson on the bench, Fabianski, Rogers, Gabriel, Fass. I say currently, not because I intend to make any transfers, although shouldn't rule it out, particularly if, for example, someone said to me, oh my God, Bukayo Saka is not in the Arsenal team. I can't foresee that would be a thing, but if it did happen, I'd probably chance my arm on Heung-min Son, actually. But actually, no, it's probably more Alexander Isak might be an influence for me here. If there's team news that Isak is out, we'll probably start Gabriel over Pedro Porro. And the reason why it would be Pedro Porro for me rather than someone else is because I'm an Ollie Watkins owner, so it would be an all-in strategy. I obviously have David Raya in goal, so I'm not completely without Arsenal defensive coverage today. I do think Gabriel will play. To the left of me, you'll see my correct score predictions for all 10 games and my captaincy top 10 in order of preference. I can tell you that Salah is top of the shop for me, then Haaland, then Palmer, then Darwin Núñez, then Raul Jimenez. That's the top 5. At the very bottom of the screen on the grey tick, you'll see all the flag players in FPL and each team's next 5 fixtures. And above that, the very important benching dilemmas, where there are 2 players together. The player with the tick is the preferred option to start from those 2 players. They run in order, left to right, pages 1 to 4. And you'll also find some goalkeepers there on page 5. If you're in the stream, thank you for joining me on this Saturday morning. Smash a like, hit the sub button. Let's get into the questions. My good friend Billy Taylor is in first. Says, yo, Jimbo, according to Understat, the top 5 players for XGI with over 400 minutes played are Visser in 5th, Haaland 4th, Palmer 3rd, Saka 2nd. Can you guess who first is? Answer in a few minutes. I'm guessing it's going to be someone very surprising. By the way you've labelled that, mate. XGI could be someone with less minutes, couldn't it? It's not like Cunha. Visser's on there. Jimenez. It's not Solanke. Jimenez, maybe. I'm surprised. Haaland 4th is just... Oh, man, Jackson. Could be Jackson. Richie says, hi, James. Who would you do Watkins to Darwin for? Would you do Watkins to Darwin for 1 free transfer or roll despite wildcarding in 12? Ooh, yeah, I'd be tempted. Like, I obviously could make a similar move, but obviously wildcard's long gone for me. Yeah, I'd be tempted. With the 2 home games, by virtue of knowing that Jota's not going to be available for them, it sounds kind of perfect opportunity, Richie, that most people won't take. So, yeah, I don't mind that. Luke Curtis says, morning, James. Hope you're well. Hold Solanke or move to Cunha for wildcard 12. Again, look, you're going to get a little bit of bias from me, Spurs fan, plus the intention as it stands now is probably to captain Dominic Solanke next week. You're going to do what, James? Yes, I probably will. I'm going to continue to play things my way. Unless Sonny ends up in the team. Or if I deem I want to captain Garnacho instead. That's probably my captaincy options next week. So I'm keeping with that in mind. I don't particularly think that Cunha is an outstandingly better choice than Solanke this week. And I don't think he's an outstandingly better choice than him next week. So I'd actually say on your circumstance, hold. If you're looking longer term and you want to get rid of Solanke, then yeah, I get it. Andy Dixon says, hi James, I have delay Solanke in a placeholder of, I presume he means Dominic Solanke. Or does he mean Delap Solanke? And a placeholder 4.5, so it might mean Delap. Want Cunha long term, would you move this week? If I upgrade 4.5 placeholder, I block Saka in future, thanks. We are hitting the time. We're not there yet, guys, but we are in November. And once we hit sort of around about game week 14, I think a few of you are going to find your benches quite handy. That's not that far away. I'd consider that into your thinking. I obviously can't see the rest of your squad, Andy. You want Cunha long term, get it. Could you set up to get from Delap to Cunha next week with an extra additional transfer? I think Delap will probably start for Ipswich this week, so wouldn't be desperate to move that on. They've got great fixture. I think there'll be goals in that game as per Tuesday's Clash of Correspondence. So probably be trying to set that up, Andy. Delap to Cunha next week. I presume that's what you meant with delay is Delap. Zara Kennedy says, quick question, James. Should I start Gabriel, put him on the bench? And who should be first on the bench? Robinson, Diblin or Vandenberg? Thank you. Well, you've kind of answered, yeah, I'd play Gabriel over all of them. First on the bench from that, probably Diblin, mate. Although I do, as I've said during the course of the week, I do think there's a chance that he might not be in the Southampton starting lineup this week. I do think Gabriel will play. We do know that he's travelled. John says, good luck, mate. Flecken or Henderson, cheers. Henderson. Dragos B says, morning, James. I have one free transfer. I presume that was to start, John. Dragos says, morning, James. I have one free transfer. Solanke to Cunha / Jimenez or Roll. Thanks. I'm just going to skip, mate. I've made my opinion on this pretty clear. And there's going to be lots of that. Chris Briggs says, morning, James. Thinking of doing DCL to Jimenez. Your thoughts? Yep. Okay with that, mate. I just think you feel better about life. I think Jimenez is going to do really well on Monday night. I do think, just to be cautious of it, that I do think Jimenez is probably one you're also looking quite short term, maybe 3 weeks, to then move that on. But I imagine over the next 3 weeks, he'll probably do pretty well, mate. Eddie R says, hey, James, how much weight would you put on City's injuries when making the decision on Haaland to Mo Salah? Cheers. Little bit, but City will still have an 11 on the pitch that will look fairly strong today, I should imagine. There's then greater reliability on Foden, Bernardo Silva and the likes to feed him. They're a little bit more, this is going to sound really harsh, but I think you'll know what I mean. They're a little bit one-dimensional in terms of the type of delivery they can provide versus De Bruyne, or even versus the likes of Savinho with his dribbling ability to either come in and whip it in or go on the outside. You are looking at those short threaded passes, and if Bournemouth shut that down and if others shut that down, there's going to be a little bit of an impact there. Yeah, look, you're probably asking the wrong guy. I'll repeat the same thing that I say every week. If you sell Erling Haaland, you need to have the stomach to do it, right? Because his EO is, even this week, his EO is going to be off the charts. It will feel like a lot of people are selling him. Actually go on the FPL website and look at the amount of teams that transferred him out. Like, it's not many. I think it's still under 200k. That's not many. So, how do you feel about going without him? It's the same old. I'm obviously going to sit here and say, yeah, look, I think the strategy has worked for me without him. But I've also gone without the highest scoring player in FPL at the moment, and that's Mo Salah. But I do think Salah is the best captaincy this week. I think the best captaincy next week is probably a Tottenham player, the right one. It's probably Haaland over Salah next week. I think Haaland will probably still be best 12, home to Tottenham. 13 is quite open. Factor it in, mate. Factor it in. I'm not going to say, yes, sell Haaland. Each to their own, right? Tiffany FPL Firefly says, morning, Worth, Trent or Gabriel out to enable Saka to Palmer from -4. Have Haaland and Salah, thanks. No, I'm not with the fixtures now, Tiffany. This feels like something you could probably set up better for Game Week 12 at this stage. My homie says, hi, James. Good luck this week. Keep smashing it. One free transfer. I've got Mickey and Robbo. Who would you sell and buy? Pinnock on the bench, wildcard 12. Robertson, I don't think starts today. But he's still going to be more useful for you than Mickey van der Ven, who's definitively out for the next 2 weeks. So it's sell that. In terms of ones at that sort of price, Dawson, Mikalenko, Joachim Anderson, there's a few for you. Maybe even Emerson at West Ham. If you're wildcarding 12, there's a few kind of Mickey van der Ven price bracket to potentially consider. Voice Virtus is bench one from Robinson and Porro. Be playing Pedro, mate. One from Smith Rowe, Rogers, Garnacho, Rogers. Richie says also, when's the best time to wildcard other than 12 before 18? It's very dependent on your team. Already partly loaded on Chelsea. I know it's team dependent, but can you look at other potential fixture swings? Yeah, I think it's all the even weeks, mate. 12, 14, 16, 18, and dependent on your team. Himanshu says, hey James, good morning. Would you do Solanke, Foden and Gabriel to Cunha, Salah and Aina for a -8? No, I wouldn't, mate, personally. Dragos says, Haaland will blank. Thanks for the breaking news. Talking of breaking news, for our patrons, cheers, Gary. Well spotted. That's going to be clock changing, isn't it? Yeah, I realised the clock says, thank you, Gary, an hour and 45 minutes to deadline. There's something that needs updating from a GMT perspective. So, yeah, we are 45 minutes from the deadline. Let me message my good buddy, Captain GMT Clock Place. He's on the case. I'm sure he will be. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, for our patrons, if we've got any team leaks laying about, and I expect we'll get something on Newcastle Arsenal before deadline, please drop me a tag on Slack. Please double check sources. There will be some bullshitters and liars. Do not race to be first this week, kids. Race to be right. Double check all your sources. Colin Johnson said, morning James, hope you well, mate. Great rank this season, well played. Best captain, play Rodgers or Smith Rowe. Salah for me, best captaincy this week. Play Rodgers or Smith Rowe. I really think there'll be goals in that Fulham Brentford game Wednesday night, so Smith Rowe for me, mate. Chris Koo says, morning James, got just enough in the bank to do Brennan to Saka, but I feel like this is a move that can be done in Gameweek 12. Is that a textbook case of overthinking and an easy roll? Yeah, exactly that, mate. You've got Saka with 2 tough away games, Johnson with 2 good home games, very little threat to his minutes, I should imagine, across those 2 home games. Yeah, it's exactly that, mate. Dave Hannigan says, morning all. Good morning, Dave. NOS Store says, what is your favourite moment this Premier League season so far? Pick my favourite moment of this Premier League season so far. I'm going to say, just trying to make sure that I pick the right Tottenham moment here. It's probably going to be Mickey van der Ven's run at Old Trafford. Jerry Darmy says, hello Jimbo, shortly before Mickey van der Ven's run against Everton in Gameweek 2. Jerry Darmy says, hello Jimbo, I have 1 free transfer, 1.1 million in the bank. Thoughts on Dibbling and Erling to Mo and Cunha for -4, and I'm planning to captain Mo in 10, 11, 12. Are you planning to start Dibbling? Is quite a big influence on that, mate. If not, it's effective over another player that would presumably then get benched, because you clearly wouldn't bench Mo or Matthias Cunha. If you're really feeling it, Jerry, yeah, I don't mind it. But particularly if you're starting Dibbling, yeah, I'm kind of for it. Otherwise, I don't know who the player is. Liam Doyle says, good morning, James. Would go with Gabriel, Foden and Solanke, or 8 Norrie, Salah and Cunha for -8, or just Solanke to Cunha for free. Hope you have a great week. Love the content. I wouldn't be doing the -8, Liam, personally. You know my feelings on Dom's getting repetitive here, guys. Liam Preston says, would you take Eze out from -4, can afford up to Bowen, or let Gabriel come off the bench? If he didn't play, Powell would come off the bench. I guess it depends what you want to buy, right? So, like, my recommendation in and around that value at this moment, assuming you can't get to Bumo, probably wouldn't force in Bowen at this moment. I don't mind it as a shout, but it would probably be Garnacho, or maybe even Semenyo, and it does feel like you're better off waiting for that to be free next week. So I think Gabriel will play. It's probably that if obviously there's bad news on Gabriel ahead of deadline, then yeah, I would take the -4 now. Etnic says, hi James, hope you and the family are well. I plan to do fast to 8 Norrie to cover some of the tough Liverpool games since I have double defence from them. Would mean I bench Rodgers this week. Thoughts? I mean, I'd still pick Rodgers over 8 Norrie this week. I'd still be picking the attacking players. Semenyo's all out. I'd be picking the attacking players over defensive players this way. I'm not backing a single team for a clean sheet this week. So in nearly every case, it will be a case of playing the attacking player. I don't mind the move for the reasons. That part why I bought 8 Norrie was similar to longer term. Was cover for Gabriel if he was ruled out. Now landed in a position with Eze ruled out, then I kind of really want to play him now. Tom Kelly says, hi James, love the content. Poro to 8, Norrie. It's a no for me at this moment with Tottenham's 2 home games. Rad Miller says, hello, bench Vardiol or Milenkovic. You got the City player, you play the City player. I haven't got Vardiol in my predicted City lineup. It's guesswork. There's nothing I know. I don't have any ITK information. It's guesswork based on the clash of the heads at the end of the game the other night, that he may not play. But I would say he'll either start or not play, I think. I.e. he won't play at all, so I'd be starting Vardiol. Richie says, argue the case for keeping Haaland for the season. Can't. There's no point doing it. Because in any case, you're saying the whole season. There is a period of fixtures that begins in game week 23, basically up to the blank game week in game week 29, where the alternatives with Salah, Palmer, Saka is too good not to be considering that at this stage. That's game week 23. It's 12 game weeks where I can't make an argument for the whole season. Also, he may be in a position where he's not going to have any doubles. They don't get to an FA Cup semi-final. He's got no double game week. So how am I making the case to keep him the whole season? I can't. It goes for any player at the moment, Richie. John says, hi James, Garnacho or Rodgers? Thanks. Garnacho for me, mate. That's what I've gone. Mark Ellison says, James, just wanted to say thanks for all the awesome content. You're one of a kind. Hope you win FPL this year. Thank you, Mark. I don't suppose I will, mate. Be quite happy if it just ended now, I think. Billy Taylor says, cocked up that XGI question. It was meant to be expected goal involvement per 90. Okay, but the answer is Jimenez. Okay, I mentioned Jimenez as one. 1.29, beating Saka 1.21, Palmer 1.0, Haaland 1.03. Haaland to Jimenez is a very easy transfer, lads. It's not, Billy. It's really not. Especially if it hasn't got moving the money as part of it. Gazman says, morning James, stupidly bought Foden last week. Would you reverse it back to Saka as I have no premium mids, or Eze to Saka, Foden to Garnacho for a hit? Good luck this week. I'd be going, I mean, you go Eze to Saka, I'm not going to give you a reason not to, so I'd be going Eze to Saka and then Foden to Garnacho for free next week. Danelius says, hi James, planning ahead for game week 13, Brighton mid and forward, or Jackson and 5 million mid? Thanks. Is that Brighton mid and any forward? Not overly keen on the Brighton mids. I get what you're saying from game week 12. It's good. Game week 13, they're at home with Southampton. It's obviously a great fixture. But I'm on the Jackson train, mate. That's where my preference is. Jerry Darmy says, non-FPL question. Who is the next manager to get P45 apart from Russell Martin if they fail to get good results in the upcoming games? Well, Gary O'Neill's not going to be far away. I mean, if he loses the next 2 home games, it's dust, mate. So that's potentially one on the chopping block, isn't it? James Russell says, hi James, great work as always. I have Saka and Palmer already. I have 2 free transfers. Haaland and Semenyo to Salah and Cunha, yay or nay? Just caveat by saying Semenyo is going to be a really good option from next week, and I'd start him over the likes of Rodgers this week and stuff, partly because of my prediction of the game. But yeah, I personally, with what I'd want to do with the setup, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to Salah, and then I'm moving that on maybe in game week 13 or so, depending on who you have and haven't got. Adam says, start Howard Bellis or Semenyo. Semenyo all day, mate. Neil McNevin says, morning James, who would you bench from Vardy, Rodgers, Brennan Johnson? Thanks, Rodgers. Curry says, hi James, 1.1 million in the bank and looking to go Stewart to Larson, but if I do it now it causes benching headaches with Rico, Lewis and Rodgers. You reckon it's better to wait a week? Cheers. Better to have the headache than no headache. Yeah, why not? If Larson's the one you want to go to, those Wolves guys are going to get investment over the next 7 days, almost irrespective of today, because it's Southampton at home next, and the fixtures still maintain good. So yeah, I'd be getting that done, I think, mate. Uros Milicevic says, hi James, need your advice for draft. Start 3 of Robertson, Lewis, Saliba, 8 Nori, Udogi, bench 1 of... okay, there's a lot going on here. I would from that start Lewis, 8 Nori, Udogi, bench 1 of Bernardo Silva, Johnson, Solanke, Cunha, him and Bernardo Silva. Thank you, have a great weekend, you too. Frederick Hertz says, with Eze out, I'm currently fielding Adama Traore. I have 4 possible ways to go. -4 for Haaland, Eze to Vissa and Salah captain for -4. Watkins, Eze to Cunha, Saka free transfer, for Watkins to Cunha roll. I don't know what's happening at the end there, Frederick. Look, the getting in of Cunha and Salah is something I strongly deliberated myself. And I kind of cut myself off it on Monday, so I didn't have a week of temptation, basically. But I'm going to say, yeah, that one. Well done, Chris, FPL captain. He has fixed the clock. So we are now 35 minutes from deadline. Gary, thank you for flagging that to me, mate. Very much appreciated. Clock is now realigned. Bart Spiller says 8 Nuri, Mikolenko, Robinson, Dalot, Vandenberg. Play 3 of those. You crap. So grim. 8 Nuri, Mikolenko, Robinson. Nah. Unless you've got no Chelsea attack, in which case to play Dalot. Burke says, hi James, worth transferring out Foden this week for Palmer/Fernandes. Planning wildcard 12. Cheers. No from me, probably. No from me. Palmer's fixtures over the next 2 significantly better than Phil Foden. And the one thing with Foden is, here's the interesting bit. The concern with Foden's always been about minutes. Well, that doesn't really exist at this moment. JR Soz, captaincy graphic, is on the screen, mate, to the left of me. James OO says, hi James, would you start Robinson versus Brentford or Rodgers v Spurs, the attacker? Sam Emerson says, morning James, McNeil or Rodgers as my Salah sacrifice. Rodgers would be benched if I sold McNeil. Garnacho if I sold McNeil, if McNeil was fit to play. I get the not wanting to sell McNeil before Southampton away, but I think the flag gives you the excuse, my friend. Giacomo says Semenyo or Rodgers if starting Lewis. If that's the case, then Rodgers. Abby says whom to bench? Rodgers, Smith Rowe, Visser or Johnson? Rodgers. Ray says, who are you captain? Team's on screen, mate. It's the guy with the blue shirt who's got a C next to his name. I'm not calling him a C, just, yeah. You can if you want. Greg Frost says, like the video, guys. Cheers, Greg. That's, not even 20% of you have smashed a like. Doesn't cost anything, guys. Just hit that fun button. Victor Sandberg says, Cunha or Larson, do you have a favourite? Yep, Cunha. I'd pay the extra if that's on the table. Clayton has just sent me, if you're interested, his wildcard team. He's going to 2 West Ham goalies, Areola and Fabianski. 5 defenders. He's starting this week. 8 Nori, Gabriel, Porro. Dalot, Colwell is others. He's going Salah captain, Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho first sub. Up front, Cunha, Solanke, Raul Jimenez. Alright. Good luck. Good luck, Clates. Garav says, hi James, play Garnacho or McNeil. Maybe risk with McNeil starting considering Saints. Good luck, mate. I don't mind that. And with McNeil, it's very unlikely to be a substitute. He'll play or he won't play. Berticus says, hey James, hope you will start one of Brantwaite, Gabriel or Leaf Davis. Have a good one, mate. Gabriel. Uros says, start Edison or Sells. Yeah, hell, Dave. If you've got Edison, you play him, mate. You also know my thoughts on that. You must do. Someone's just messaged me, said, I didn't know you had Salah. Where you been, Chief? Optimus Prime, ain't seen you for a while. It says, I am overall rank 3,600, free transfers, all chips available. I was always say that the best strategy for wildcard was to use it at Gameweek 18. All premiums have amazing fixtures at that time. Good luck, Optimus. Ray says, are you never bring out Haaland this season? You mean am I never bringing in? I'm not going to rule that out. No chance. Especially with them fixtures he's got like 18 to 22. Like if Cole Palmer's not available at that period because he's injured, yeah, I'll be on Haaland, mate. So no, I'm doing this to whatever. Like, no. If I want to bring him in, I bring him in. I don't foresee that as likely. I'm going to be honest. But from Game Week 14, we'll have a look again. Greg Frost says, I reckon Man United Chelsea will be a 4-3 classic. Howard Green says, nice poppy, James. Good luck, one and all, for the weekend. Don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you, Howard. Have a good one. FPL Uproar says, hello, James, Rodgers and Haaland to Visser and Salah. Yeah, again, just as per what I was saying on my Ask James stream yesterday, just be cautious if you've got three forwards that are like Vissa, Wood, Jimenez, which looks amazing this week, or Cunha as well. It looks amazing. Just fast forward a couple of weeks, you're probably going to want like a Jackson or a Watkins or a Havertz or an Isak, and make sure you can do it. That's all. Andrew Flannery says, hi James, great content as usual. Captaincy's on the screen. Andrew, it's always there, mate, in terms of my preferences. Top 10 in order to the left, flips around with the correct scores. Big Chief says, hi James, Watkins and Saka, or Salah and Raul Jimenez Wood. I have Vissa and Jackson, no Haaland. So the fact you've got Jackson, yeah, Salah, and I'd be going Jimenez over Wood personally at this moment. Damo Anderson's Nunes. Ha ha ha! You had a few beers this morning, pal. No, I put this together last night. I'm not going to tell you if I was drinking last night or not. But I did watch the new Ghostbusters film. Well, it's not news. It was new on Sky. I actually watched the film, probably for the first time all fucking year. Bart Spillers says, Porro or Dallo for next few game weeks. What's few? 1, 2, 3. I mean, if it's up to 3, it's Dallo. FC Paul says, morning James, think Bournemouth will get something from the game today with City injuries. What's your prediction? It's on the screen, mate. They're all on the screen. Prediction for every game is on the screen. And I've been saying it pretty much since City beat Fulham that I think there's a City stumbling block coming. And I've said then that I thought that this would potentially be the game. Armo says, selling the robot, would you punt Darwin? No. Look at the person above. Has got laughing emojis about Darwin. Selling the robot, would you punt Darwin or Højlund? Have Cunha and Solanke, Jackson in 12. So you're saying you're going Solanke to Jackson in 12. If I was buying Darwin or Højlund at the moment, me personally, I'd probably go Højlund. The reason I'd go Højlund of the two is just thinking about what happens when I hit game week 12 and Jota may be back. And you can't sell Darwin Núñez when he's playing Southampton. So I wouldn't want to be in that uncomfortable position. And also I'd be looking a little bit longer term. So Núñez has said, for those wildcarding in game week 12 specifically, I really don't mind that. But it's specific, I think, to those people. Johnny VDM says, morning James, would you start Smith Rowe? Rogers, Smith Rowe. Abdullah says, hi James, Milenkovic 8, Norrie, Lewis, Gabriel. Start 3, it's easy read as bench 1, my friend, and the answer you're going to get from that is Milenkovic. Cameron says, hi James, bench 1 of Gabriel, Lewis, Aina. With these, I'm always liable to pick from the better teams, frankly. If Forest on a great run, good fixture this week, yeah, it brings different pressures. West Ham have got good offensive players in the likes of Jared Bowen. Noah Van Uyen says, Vardy to Raul Jimenez / Núñez worth it this week, you think? Núñez would chain into Jackson in 12-13 most likely. So yeah, I get that. So I don't mind. But under that circumstance, I probably still prefer Raul Jimenez. Actually, yeah. Sam Peffrick says, any merits in starting Dallo over Gabriel? Cheers, champ. Are there merits in it? Yeah. It's a no from me, though. Luke, we've got that fixed. But thank you for pointing it out. Vinith says, can you tell which part I should focus my I'm not reading your whole squad, mate. Vinith, I wish you the very best of luck, but by the time I've read through the names, I've forgotten half of them, mate. I wish you the best of luck. John says, Watkins to Vissa? Question, cheers. It's a no from me. Sam Peffrick, yep, got it, Sam. Hobby Addict says, morning James, pick 2 to start from this week's fixtures, Solanke, Jackson and Jimenez. The answer is all of them, mate. Yeah, bench someone else, mate. Yeah, pick all of them. I generally tell me, come back and tell me who your 5 midfielders are who are better than all 3 of them this week. I refuse to answer that. Just play them all, mate. If it's like I've got to play Rodgers or something, the answer's Rodgers. I don't believe with Solanke and Jackson in there that you have 5 midfielders that are better than all 3 of them forwards this week. L1D5Tur27 not back in one single clean sheet this week. Correct. I'm sure there will be one somewhere, but I've predicted every game on its merits, and that's how it's landed. JK Gunas says, morning James, hope you're all good. Thinking Havertz to Darwin this week, then Smith Rowe to Fernandes next week. Okay, I get the Fernandes temptation. Don't really know where he's going to play under Ruben Amorim. I would prefer saving the money on Alejandro Garnacho personally, but Okay, it's attacking fixtures. Sure. What's the Darwin Núñez game week 12 escape? That's the only thing I'd add to that. Laser Pew Pew says, what do you think of Evan Nilsson from Game Week 11? I think he's one of the cheaper forwards. Not many people are talking about. Bournemouth have a great run. They do have a great run from Game Week 11. You're absolutely correct. We will throw it into the conversation on Clash the Correspondence this coming Thursday, because that will be Brentford versus Bournemouth this week with Tom Med and Neil Grover. Andrew Dixon says, meant the lap. Yep, got you, mate. Big Chief says, Keane or Gabriel. Gabriel, mate. Not aware of any leaks at this stage, by the way, people. But I'm keeping my eye on things. And again, a repeat message to our patrons. If we've got anything, particularly obviously on the Newcastle and Arsenal game, get us tagged and we'll have a look. We'll get it shared with the people. But I'm not aware. One of our patrons said to Clayton, now show us your real draft. To be fair, I even told him myself, despite everything I've said about Solanke, I told him not to go Solanke on wildcard. But yeah, okay. Good luck, Clays. FPL Bucker says, yeah, you've got it, got it, thanks. Richard Matthews says, bench Jackson / Cunha or Garnacho. I mean Garnacho reluctantly. JR Soz, I answered that for someone really near the start. It might have been for you, and I said Henderson then. Mustafa Gaming says, hi James, Núñez third best captain choice. Yeah, what about it? So what? I mean, I've actually fourth. No, not third, fourth. Have 4 free transfers, getting Nuri, Garnacho, Raul Jimenez and making him captain instead of Palmer. Glory without Salah, Haaland. Cheers, have a great week. Wish you well, mate. Fires says, thoughts about strategy from 12 of no Haaland, no Salah with a wild card in hand, so you can have expensive options like Watkins, Jackson, Bowen, Bumo, Saka, Palmer all at once. Look at my team, mate. There's your answer. FPL Ebro says, hey James, good luck this game week. Can you explain a bit of your thinking of why you think Smith Rowe might be a better choice over Rodgers this week, trying to decide who to bench? Thanks. I think Brentford are there for the taking in pretty much any game at the moment. Genuinely. Spurs, by the way, have just posted a video of the Tottenham players going out for training, and right at the start of it is Heung-min Son. So he's going to train today, and as Ange suggested, if he trains fine today, they'll play tomorrow. He looks happy, Sonny, so I don't think there should be any particular surprise on that. I'm very tempted by Sonny next week. FPL Ibro says, mainly because I probably shouldn't captain Solanke. FPL Ibro says, hey James, good luck this game week. That's what just done. Murray Defoe says, stick with DCL or transfer to Jimenez or Cunha. I'd be very tempted to go Cunha now, but I'd be thinking long term. You might not be. In which case Cunha's also still a good option. I'd be going Cunha. Abby says, who do you think will be the most popular captain this week in the Twitter community? And who do you think will be in the whole of FPL? In the Twitter community, I think it will be Salah. In the whole game, it will be Erling Haaland by a mile. Adam says, you've got every team scoring. Go for both teams to score a 20-team ACCA, 200 to 1 low. I tell you what, Adam, put a quid on it. And if it comes in, just promise me that you'll support the show at, on www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Deal? Put £1 on it. If it wins, I don't want none of the money. Just support us on Patreon, which is kind of like giving me the money. Alex Barrett says, where would Garnacho be on the benching dilemmas list? Right at the top, mate. Near enough. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I probably wouldn't play him over Calvert-Lewin this week. Over Johnson... I think probably between Smith Rowe and Semenyo, probably. There you go, probably fourth. Motta says, bro, who would you move that fraud Flecken to? Same price. I probably wouldn't bother. Is the honest answer. I would probably... I would either go Anana next week, or Sanchez or Verbruggen in 12. There you go. There's an answer for you. Kartik Rao says Solanke to Rao, Foden to Salah, Gabriel to Dallo -4, or only Solanke to Raul Jimenez or Raul. Look, Kartik, what I would do and what I'd advise are maybe two different things, because I would roll. I wouldn't want to lose Gabriel, mate. No, it's a roll for me. Andrew Sands says, are there any plans for you to do any events similar to that at the Thirsty Bear last November? Not as easy to plan with Suj overseas. Love the content. Yep, you're quite right, Andrew. And I would like to. We had this question recently on one of our Patreon Q&As. And just the way it's going to work out this year, I think, I'm going to be honest, that weekend would be ideal. With Tottenham playing in Europa this year, it makes my life a little bit more difficult in terms of my free time. And I'd rather just have that weekend, my boy. It's generally my take at the moment. But I would like to try and organise something where, you know, even if we just meet up for a Super Sunday or something like that. You know, live show at the moment without Suj is probably not worthwhile. And you got to understand, if Suj comes back over the same, right? He wants to see family that are here and he's got work commitments and stuff like that. Like he's actually coming back, I think, towards the end of next week. I don't think I'm going to see him. Genuinely. So yeah, it does make it difficult. I could do a one-man show, but I don't think that's quite right. I don't think. I could do it, but I don't think that's quite right. Mustafa says, sell for Raul Jimenez. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what you said, mate, because I'll just move on to the next questions. Mook C says, start 2 of Rogers DCL. This I'd be benching Rogers. Mohammed says, Porro haven't got attacking return for a while. Well, maybe the fucker's due then, mate. Peter says, hi, James. Hope you're well. Would love to hear your thoughts on Saka captain this week. Good luck. Cheers. No from me, mate. I imagine that game will be low scoring. Ian Williams says, bench Johnson or Rogers. Rogers does his thing, guys. See this thing here. It's good. Benching dilemmas, yeah? Cheers. Yeah. It's there. Dan Meller, hi mate. Would you start Vardy or Solanke today? Change my mind every 5 minutes. I'd start Dom. Excuse me. Elia SDG1 says, I've got an accidental bench boost option. Fabianski, Rogers, Gabriel, De Ligt. Gabriel's not certainty to play as it stands. Neither's Fabianski. I think, and I can't see the rest of your team, but I'm going to be surprised that if that doesn't look stronger next week. Clayton's messaged me and he said from his wildcard he's changed. He's sold Gabriel and Bruno Fernandes to Joachim Anderson and Bukayo Saka. There's no Arsenal defence. And no easy way of getting to it. Clates, I'd think about that, mate. Remember what I said to you? I'd just be leaving money in the bank, mate. Yeah, think about it. Think of 12. What team do you want in 12 is important here, I think. I think you'll want Arsenal defensive. Good luck. Play it your way. Usual. Who is next? Chim says, best midfielders to own short term over the next 2 game weeks before wildcard. Emil Smith Rowe. I'm going to throw Keane Lewis Potter in as an absolute punt. Alejandro Garnacho. Ismail Assar is a rogue punt as well, actually. Brennan Johnson, I think, is top of the list there, to be honest. I really do. Jared Bowen. There's a number for you there, mate. Ryan Kettlestring says, thank you for the work you do, James. Best FPL content on the platform. Thank you. Says, what would you do with Semenya? Was intent on holding through, but now I think I should go for Smith Rowe. Hold! Strong hold. Semenya's going to look great from next week onwards, mate. So, yeah, I'd be holding there personally. Let's have a look and see if we've got anything potentially in terms of team leaks knocking about. Nope, not at this moment as far as I'm aware. Patrons on the case. We're getting to the stage where we might expect something. I'm just going to check through some messages. This from Andy, Let's Talk FPL. Says someone has messaged to say Gabriel starts, but there have been a couple of times they've been incorrect before. I'm going to take it as positive news, though, as I want to play him. It's not the same person who gave me the Gabriel Saliba stuff in Game Week 1 last season. But I to be honest, I'd be surprised if Gabriel wasn't in the lineup on the basis that he travelled to Newcastle. I'd expect him to play. Otherwise, nothing going round at the moment. Again, patrons, let us know if we've got anything definitive going round in the next 15 minutes or so. Who's next? Andrew Sands, bit of trivia. Which former Premier League footballer played professionally in 4 decades? 4 decades. That's a lot of decades, isn't it? Former. Could have someone that's like 90s to now. 90s, 0s, 10s, 20s. It's going to be someone old, mate. I could also say Stanley Matthews, but would he have? Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, let us know. Cav says, play Gusto or Dallo. Dallo is a certain starter, I think. Gusto is not. That would define that for me, probably. Baska Jotti, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, how secure is the spot of Strand Larson? Thinking of doing Watkins to him next week instead of Cunha. Saving money to buy Palmer and Saka in Game Week 13, not doing it in Game Week 12. Andrew, thank you for giving me the answer that was Yari Littmanen. Cheers, mate. Good question. Like that. Appreciated. Yeah, look, if you're setting yourself up, Palmer, Saka, I'm not going to give you reasons to say no, mate. And he should be fine. He should be fine. Sebastian Hasselberg says, start McNeil or Robinson, attacking player. For me, is going to be the answer. Russell Baker says, morning, James. Have Solanke, Cunha, Havertz right now. Raya in goal. Moving forward, would you double Arsenal attack or double defence when Oddie is back? Couldn't get a sensible answer from Baker, Adam. Because it's a difficult one to answer, I should imagine. Look, I'm on the double defence trail. And I'm probably going to stick that way. However, there is a possibility that I sell Raya next week. That's a possibility. It's one of my strategic plans. Might need that. But I don't intend to. But it's a possibility. Not because I specifically want to get rid of him. It will be a money-orientated decision, as you could probably guess. Next up is Mustafa Gaming. Ten Hag getting sacked easy here. Lol. Yeah, okay. LH says, morning, mate. No clean sheets at all this week. Is it the end of premium defenders? No, mate. It's just a difficult set of fixtures this week. Sebastian Lange, please sell them all, and I'll keep mine. Sebastian Lange says, start Gabriel Lewis, Mikalenko, or Moreno. From that, I would probably go Moreno over Mikalenko. Just play the other two. Simon Baker, James, I have Semenyo, Diblin, Mikalenko, Lewis. I need to play at least one of the defenders and one other. Play Lewis, play Semenyo. Who would you play? Yeah, there you go. Thinking Semenyo and Lewis. There you go. You've done it. Eddie says, morning, mate. Which one's a bench from Solanke, Jackson, Boomo? Come, you Spurs. Taking the piss. Don't believe you, Eddie. Mustafa Gaming says, there's still hope, always a premium over cheap. Mustafa, you were on one this morning, didn't you, mate? Oliver Houston says, Haaland and Maddison out for Salah, Cunha in. Salah captain plus leaves 3.7 in the bank to enable Palmer and Jackson or Watkins, etc. future moves. Thumbs up, Oliver. Good man. Yeah, you got a plan, mate. I'm not going to tell you to go against it. Like it. Ryan Quinn says, is minus 16 madness if you think you'll make up the points in 3 weeks. You know that I'm never going to give a thumbs up, Ryan, to anything higher than a -8, basically. Even more so at this stage where transfers can be rolled. It's going to be a no from me, Ryan, but I know you well, so I will say play it your way, mate. Kevin1234 says, that's a bit of a disaster for a team you have that's worth a -16 to sort out. Yeah. Oni Dozy says, hi James, my benching dilemma, Semenyo or Rogers. Who would you pick to start this game with? On the benching dilemmas, brother, Semenyo, Sebastian Lange, start 2 of Gabriel, Lewis, Moreno, Mikolenko. I think I've just done that for you. If we're responding to other people, guys, can we please tag the people so I don't just read out your comments? A man says, who would you pump for the next 2 game weeks in the midfield? Unlimited budget, maybe Sonny. Yep. Zubi says, morning, mate. If Gabriel is out, would you sell Conser for Ray and 8 Nori? He's a better option this week off the bench and also for the long term. I kind of made a similar move, but I had a completely dead player in Nedeljkovic. But I'm pretty confident Gabriel's going to play at this stage. I have no information on that. Dominic Jervis says, interesting, you have Bournemouth to beat City, James. We have never taken points from them in the Premier League, but this seems to be the best opportunity. Yeah. Look, I say this all the time. People criticise me on my predictions and go, oh my God, you did da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, but I've always said if I think something, I won't sit on the fence. I'd rather do that and say, okay, look, I think City might get beat today rather than just the boring, I think City will win. Now, if I think something, feels something, I'll predict it. Looks better. Bogdan, please tag someone if you're responding. Roy McLaughlin Dow, my Palace correspondent, says, listen to above average John McKenzie who loves Iriola. Supposedly said Bournemouth would be eviscerated by Man City due to style of play. Okay, well, I'm sure he's a tactical expert. I'm sure he knows way more than me, Rory. Flocko Maka says, hello, James. Benching dilemma also. Would you rather bench Johnson or Bumo this game week? Benching Bumo's not an option, mate. Maybe Johnson, Delap also. I probably would pick Johnson over Delap, mate. Ashley Wood says, Stewart and Fass out for Hoyland and Burgess, Ipswich. It enables me to put Welbeck first sub in case McNeil is out. What I reckon is that I don't know what the rest of your defenders are, and Burgess won't stay in that team for very long. He's the cheapest playing one at the moment. It won't last. If you need him, that's a problem. James, how much do you get pissed off during your deadline stream when the YouTube community asks you questions about captaincy picks and benching dilemmas when the answers are on the screen? I myself have been guilty of this. Apologies. I won't grass up the person who just sent that to me. Good. Cool. Wicked, isn't it? Like, not everybody can read, right? Ashley Wood says Stewart and Fass out for Hoyland and Burgess. Another Burgess. Oh, is that the one? That's what I just read, isn't it? Anyway, Ashley, yeah, cool. Yeah, sure. Lewis James, 8 Nori, Van der Ven, or start Keane and roll to get free transfers. I'd move Van der Ven on, mate. Mustafa, if you're responding to someone, can please tag people, my friend, because I'm just going to end up reading your comments, mate. Druv says, hi James, I have a rough benching headache to bench one between Visser, Havertz, Watkins, Bowen, thoughts. Rough. Christ on a stick, mate. Bowen. Paul Allen just says Foden to Saka. Good luck, Paul. Eddie says Foden to Garnacho and then Brennan to Saka in 12. Or just hold Foden until 12 and keep Brennan past then. I'd leave it this week and consider the Foden to Garnacho next week. Lassie Mirrell says 1 free transfer plan in wildcard in 12. Watkins to Darwin to cover a bit of Salah. Have Haaland. Yeah, sure. Jason Smith. I'm not reading your whole team out, mate, because by the time I've read the names, I'll have forgotten half of them. But good luck. Ahmed says, why you suggest starting Porro over Robinson while Brentford defence is so leaky and Spurs missing Van der Ven? Because it's so leaky, but a very good going the other way as well. Probability of a Tottenham clean sheet this week would be higher. And Porro is much better offensively than Robinson, bottom line as well anyway. Robinson is all fart, no poo, mate. Whoopie do. They play Pedro. That wouldn't even be close for me, that one. Malcolm says Rogers or Delap. Penno says, hi James. Mustafa, you're getting muted in a minute, mate. And I really don't want to do that because I like you. Penno says, hi James, please delete your messages, Mustafa, do us a favour. Penno says, hi James, big game against your boys this weekend, not sure how it will go. Regarding FPL, would you start McNeil over Rogers? Probably yes on the fixtures. Interesting one from FPL Main Road. Cole Walker has travelled apparently. Pep seemed to suggest that he'd be out till after the international break. I don't think that Rico Lewis owners should be scared by that in any way. But it's notable. It's notable. That information I'm fairly certain from FPL Main Road will be correct. But he has travels, which is interesting. Again, repeat to our patrons, give us a tag if we've got anything that's confirmed news. We are 7 minutes on the deadline, guys, so do be getting yourselves locked in as we approach the deadline, particularly if your name is Clayton Fernandez. He's going to make a transfer at 10:59. It's so predictable. He couldn't be any more, Serge. JR says, James, start flecking off Fabianski. I'd be going Fabianski, mate. Cheers, Sam. Porky Parkup says, hi, James. How bad is Gabriel Vardio Greaves' issue? Would you take a -4 to fix? Nah, you'd probably be fine, mate, I should imagine. FPL Murph, hi mate, happy to hold and play the robot this week, but means playing Semenyo and do -4 for Solanke, Semenyo, Trent, Raul, Saka, Ray and Nori. No for me, mate. Dara, Sam Maguire, transfer done. Just here to say cheers again for the great content. Best of luck this weekend, you too, Dara. Thank you, mate. Abby says, just noticing your predictions, there aren't any clean sheets. If at all there is one, who do you think is most likely to? Most likely to is Liverpool, in my opinion. Wolves and Everton were borderline whether I predicted them for one. There you go. Alexander says, hi James, start Visser or McNeil. Visser for me. Ryan says, Havertz to Cunha this week, James, will make it easier to go Saka in 12. Yep. And you could always reverse if you've hated the Cunha move. You probably won't. Yin Kade, who to bench at? Kanate, 8, Nori, Vardio or Johnson? Kanate, because I'd pick the others on vibes. Sam says, thank you, sir. You're very welcome. Malcolm, morning, mate. Who'd start this week? Delap or Rogers? Delap. Paul Skulls, you ginger genius. Says, hi, James. Bench 1 and die Semenyo or Rogers. Rogers. It's familiar, this, isn't it? Rogers is definitely going off against my team this weekend now, by the way, kids. Sebastian says, good morning, James. Good morning to you. Jose says, hi, James. Son or Saka for the next 4 fixtures. Good luck for the game week. Sonny. Andy Max says, hey, James. Hope you and the family are keeping well. I think I know your answer already, but Foden to Saka, Salah for a hit or just hold. Cheers, mate. Salah would be extremely tempting there, mate. Big Chief says, not tempted by Mo. Of course, mate. Of course. Yeah, I thought about it and I knew it was just going to cut me off of what I wanted to do in future game weeks. Was the biggest thing for me. And I think one of the reasons I'm doing really well, is not to say it will last, but one of the reasons I've been doing really well isn't specifically the taking the Haaland Salah on, although that's part of it, but it's the structure. And I'm going to put myself in trouble if I buy Mo Salah. That's the biggest thing for me. But was I tempted you? Of course, absolutely. I think it's the best captaincy this week. Finley Scanlon says, bench 1 of Lewis, Gabriel, Nori, Davis with Rare in goal. Davis. Hobby Addict, James, my 5 mids are Bumo, Palmer, Garnacho, Bowen and Foden. This is a reply to my initial question of Jackson, Solanke and him as front 3. Thanks, mate. Okay, from that lot, I'd bench Garnacho, mate. Yeah, that's the answer. There you go, I told you there would be one, mate. Lewis James says, any news on Michael Keane to start? No, you're not going to get any either. I have said during the week, I do think there's a chance Everton could play a back 5. Otherwise, I think Branthwaite will come in the team for him. Jay Lee says, best team fancy challenge, stuck on picking a defender. Who gives a shit, mate? Trent. A gamer time. Bowen in for a -8. Yeah, cool. Got no idea what you're selling. Yeah, knock yourself out, mate. Darren Jenkins. Ariola not travelling. Fab will play. Not heard that one going about. No, not heard that. So always share your source if you're sharing something like that, Darren. But I would expect Fabianski to play anyway. Big Lou says, much love, James. You too. Mr. Damie DML James, captain's on the screen, my friend. Come on, buddy. Darren Jenkins, Garnacho in for McNeil for -4. Don't know if I can risk waiting for him when I have Son flagged. Also, Sonny's highly likely to play, mate. No, I wouldn't do it. Callie Hoster, hey James, 2 free transfers, Foden and Solanke to Salah and Raul Jimenez, or no transfers. Yeah, I get the appeal. Mina Savlaki, God, I'm bloody hungry now, says Eze and Robertson to Garnacho and Dallo, or Eze and Haaland to Salah and Cunha. There's a case to say deal with your problems. Defence is Trent, Greaves, Robertson, Lewis, Gabriel. No, you're okay. Salah, Cunha. FPL Frazzle said, good morning, James. After the deadline question, can I have a nap from the football today or go to my in my charity treble, please? Any sport, but I guess you'll stick to the footy. Can I charity treble? Oh, gee. Teams to score in lots of games. Right, from the 3 o'clocks. Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, Everton, Forest, West Ham. All teams to score. There you go. Woodstock, Chris George, Ella Kobe. Nice. 11 Iron Ross Kenny, 4 decades player, gigs, legend. Not quite, my friend. Didn't play in the 80s or the 2020s. We are a minute to deadline, guys. Be getting yourselves locked in. Not aware of any Arsenal or Newcastle leak as it stands. Therefore, my team will be staying the same as is on screen. Ian M, best Jota replacement, 7.7 million to spend. I went Garnacho a couple of weeks ago. Dreaming FPL, play Diblin or Rodgers. Rodgers, I have an inkling that Diblin might not start. Moody says, hi James, start Davis or Rodgers, attacking player. Rodgers. Phil G, hi, why are you captaining Palmer? You're not expecting Man United new manager bounce. Their new managers don't arrive for a couple of weeks. Quite simply, I have no idea what's going to happen in that game. It could be carnage. Someone else has mentioned that in the stream, and quite honestly, from the options I've got, he's the best one. It's as literally as simple as that. That's why. Daniel Lund says, was thinking of going with Sonny captain over Palmer. You really think Spurs Villa will be lack those scoring? Yeah, I have an inkling it might be quite tight, actually. LUFCC says Cunha or Vissa or Son to Palmer. Then would keep Sonny at this moment. Make that move in game week 12. Cunha over Vissa. FPL Rover, Foden, Solanke to Salah, Darwin. Wildcard 13 coming soon. Don't mind it. Deadline 11 a.m. I got through a lot of you this week, I think. I don't think I did too badly. But we are at deadline, guys. There is nothing you can do now. Your teams are locked in. Decisions have been made. For those of you who have come just for FPL shit and for me to answer your questions, do us a favour. Smash a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next week. Remember, deadline next week, slightly later time. So it's a 1:30 p.m. deadline. There's no 12:30 game next week. So it will be a 12:30 p.m. GMT UK Game Week 11 deadline stream next week. I'm trying to think of any reason why I can't do it. No, none whatsoever. If you've got any non-FPL questions, throw them into the chat. Happy to cover a few of them off for 15 minutes or so. Perhaps up to sort of like when we get the Newcastle Arsenal team news, bit of reaction to that perhaps. While that's coming in, just to tell you about content this week coming up. Clayton will be doing the game review with me on Monday. I've seen a message from Cal. I quite like that. I hate it, yeah. Game review podcast Monday, People's Poll Tuesday. Ask James next week will be on Wednesday. That's because Clayton is in Milan for the Champions League game for Arsenal at Inter. So Clayton and James show will be on Friday next week. Clash of Correspondence, is Thursday. Brentford versus Bournemouth with Tom Med and Neil Grover. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. I can tell you that the additional content in terms of podcast next week will be a Q&A Monday, UCL Fantasy Tuesday, Tottenham Wednesday, Money in Football Thursday, and our Game Week 11 FPL preview podcast on Friday. For advanced tier patrons, content this week will include Nico's Corner, the midweek FPL Dilemma, away days, Clayton going to Inter, team news stream. Haven't decided the other bits yet. Probably a talking tactics, but I've got to pick Harry up 3 days next week, so my timing's quite tight. So I might let Clayton do like away days, and I might not do talking tactics this week. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Do it because you want to support the content, free content like this that we provide, which doesn't exist genuinely without the support of our patrons anymore, or because you would like the additional content, and perhaps because you want to join our Slack community with our brilliant patrons. It's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Any questions, feel free to DM me on the Bird app, and you can give me a follow there at Planet FPL Pod. Please don't slide into my DMs if it's about fantasy questions. If it's about other things, I don't mind. Right, that's the general sell done. Let's see what non-FPL we've got. Danelius says, thank you. You're welcome, JB. Hi, James. Understand the context of bottled it. Can you explain the origin of the term? You're the best. Love your work. Aussie in Thailand. Thanks, JB. Can I explain the orange of it? You're asking me to give you history lessons, and I'm not that great at that, mate. Aussie in you're the best. Love your work. Well, I've forgotten what the question is. Where the origins? I'm sorry, I got to start thinking about something else. Bottled it. Well, I guess I'd say the first time I heard it was Tim Flowers was a Blackburn goalkeeper when they won the title, and they beat Newcastle on a Monday night it was a 42 game week then, so it would have been game week 41. They beat Newcastle to go into then for the final day of the season, top of the league. And he did an interview after the game where he spoke about them having bottle, and that was the first time I was like, bottle? And it's like having guts and stuff like that. And Blackburn kind of bottled it, really, because they lost at Liverpool, but Manchester United failed to beat West Ham, so they still won the title. I know from there, maybe. I know when it was officially first coined, they wouldn't have a great answer for you, but I guess it's one that's in a position of strength that therefore doesn't win is kind of what it's in relation to, right? Matthew North, you're very welcome. Thank you, mate. Donnie says, enjoy the weekend. Keep on rocking. Thank you, mate. You too. Jonathan says, what do you think the top fours is going to be end of season? What order? Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Yeah, well said, Jack Tasker. Jerry Dummer uses, which centre-back pairing do you think is better between Rio Vidic, Terry Carvalho? Do you think the Jan Toby pairing is very underrated compared to other top centre-back pairings? Yeah, of course I do. I mean, that's the best pairing I've seen at Tottenham, but I also understand that White wouldn't be in that conversation because he didn't win anything. That's fair enough. That's rough, that. I think at its essence, its peak of Mourinho's first season, that period, I think it's Terry Carvalho, but over a little bit more longevity, Rio and Vidic, so I've kind of bolted that. Donny FPL says, top 3 areas of improvement position-wise for the new Manchester United manager in your view, James. Attitude doesn't count. So, presumably he wants to play a back 3. I'm getting the right wing-back is going to be a priority. I don't know if he's got the central midfielder that he wants. I don't know if he'll have the number 9 that he wants. I think there's a lot that's open here, but I think the wing-back situation would be the obvious place to start. And it's one for each side, because even like if Dalot got injured, you'd need both sides covered. Can Matsuari play a wing-back position? Yeah, I'm sure he probably can. I think Dalot could be really interesting in FPL. And for those I mentioned earlier about bringing Raya in, selling Raya next week, it would maybe be with Dalot in mind, because if I went Solanke to Isak in 12, I wouldn't be able to go Porro to Dalot, but I also realise I'm possibly a week late under that circumstance, so a few things to ponder going into next week, but I think Dalot could be a really good option. But I think wing backs is kind of obvious, clear priority. For that system to work properly, that's important. Shaka says, what was Clayton's team in the end? I think he's tweeted it. That's class. This is what he tweeted. So starting 11 this week: Areola, Aït-Nouri, Anderson, Porro. He's got Salah, Bumo, Palmer, Saka. He's captain Salah, obviously. Cunha, Solanke, Jimenez, Fabianski, Raul Jimenez, Dalot, and Colwell. But I think that was the team he sent me. Then he said about a couple of changes. I don't know if he changed it. I don't know. Problem is I've got so many bloody notifications now because he's done that, so I need to mute his conversation. John Bailey, going to Wolves away next week. Any places to visit pre-game you know of? Depends. So there's a nice, I forget the name of the place, Bradley Park will tell you, nice little bar I've gone into. It's for home fans only in the city centre, but I've gone in with Bradley and we don't wear colours, so it's been alright. And I'm normally with my dad, so it's not like we look like trouble or anything. Last year it was an early kick-off and we went to might have been a Beefeater or something. It's where Tottenham recommended to go. It's quite near the station. It's not to the, if you get off the train, it's not to the centre. You need to walk round the back of the station and towards the right hand side. Forgive me, I forget the name of the place. That will likely be the designated pub for away fans. John, if you're not sure, tag me on Twitter. And I'll have a proper look for you. But I think it might have been a Beefeater. Might have even been a hotel. Might have been a Premier Inn. I can't remember. But it was a designated place for away fans. It was obviously bar. Busy though. King of Mandalore, can you explain what bus team means? You always say it was Suj and I don't know what it means. So, it's a coin that originated from the Always Cheating guys. Brandon and Josh. With the theory being, like, watch your team if you get hit by a bus. So, i.e., in half hour when the game reopens, set your team up for next week so that if you get hit by a bus, you've got a good team. That's where it comes from. Don't shoot the messenger. Jerry Darmayu says, if you can bring one player from the 2000s Tottenham side into this current side, who would it be and why? From the 2000s. So I can include Modric in that, can't I? Didn't really see the best of Modric to be at 2010, really, though. I don't know if that's a bit of a cheeky answer. It feels like the right answer, though. I can also take Bale. That's the same. Didn't really hit his peak till 2010. So those are the obvious two names, but I'll give you one that I think is more realistic in terms of how we played in that era. I'm going to say Michael Carrick. Would be absolutely perfect for this Tottenham team. Absolutely perfect. Kill all my number 6 problems. So I'm going to say Michael Carrick because I think that's a more interesting answer. Hobby Addict says, thanks again. Have a great weekend. Be lucky. You too. Nigel Sam says, hi James. FPL related. Boo! But at what point in the season would you look to go more differential for not the sake of it, but if you want to win the whole thing? Well, I'm already doing it, aren't I? The thing is, you don't have to go like too far away. I've got no Haaland, no Salah. I mean, that in itself is pretty against the grain at this moment, isn't it? So I've been differential enough through this period. I still am. So I wouldn't be a thought to change strategy in terms of, like, if I genuinely had a chance of winning it, which I'm sure is not going to happen. But if I did right at the end, I don't know the answer to that question yet because I've obviously not been in that position. But I would think, to be honest, I don't think much more than about 4 game weeks from the end. I don't think. Nah. It depends how far off as well, I suppose. You know, if I'm 50 points off, bit more rogue. If it's 20 points, 4 weeks enough or so. Depends, doesn't it? Mustafa, who would be your choice for the Ghostbusters in the Premier League? Welcome back, Mustafa. Who would be my choice for the Ghostbusters in the Premier League? Wow. Okay, we need someone really intelligent. No, James Maddison's in my head. Let's put Madders in. James Maddison. We need someone like eloquent. Tyrone Mings has always come across pretty well. And he's back fit, which is nice to see. And he's a unit, isn't he? I need a... It's almost like which footballer is most likely to be a scientist? Because it's scientists, really. Scientist. Which footballer is most likely to be a scientist? Who's got that in them? Who's already doing like pundit stuff? Who's still playing? Andros Townsend. There's one for you. Andros Townsend. Although he's not playing in England anymore, he's still playing his career. Andros Townsend. Oh no, mind you, he's a current Premier. Oh fuck it, I'm having Andros Townsend. I need one more, don't I? Christian Romero, because he just wouldn't give a shit. No fear. ALB, hello Carl, hope you're well, mate. It says Tim Flowers, what a flashback. Loved all those mad goalkeeper kits back then. Hope Will James, good luck this weekend. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're good, mate. Russell Baker says bottle before bottles were available used to mean bravery. That man has a lot of bottle. Martin Taylor says bottle comes from Cockney rhyming slang. Bottle and glass equals arse. Arse meaning courage, a bit like balls. There you go. Everything's from Cockney rhyming slang, isn't it? Apple and pears. John Kedwood, Martin Taylor. Yes, it literally means you can hold your shit together. Curtis's Carrick with Soulball and current United problems too. Such an underrated player, Michael Carrick. I mean, it's 33 England caps. It's fucking disgraceful. Mark Johnson, outside of FPL, the bus comes from the idea of a bus factor that is about how much an organisation rules on a person. Is there? Rob Estaway, have you seen the fixture mess with Arsenal's League Cup home draw? Clash of Arsenal Women's Champions League fixture, which must be played at the Emirates. Think Spurs at home. So, yeah, do you know what? I meant to check this because I think someone said that the Brighton Palace game had been confirmed for the Sunday, and I'm fairly certain it would get moved to the Saturday because that's the sensible option, but no one does bloody sensible, do they? They provisionally said they'd move it to a Sunday. Tottenham and Arsenal won't both play on the Wednesday at home. I'm pretty convinced by that. Well, no, Arsenal can't anyway because the women's team are playing, although it's nothing to say that they wouldn't definitively move that. See, I haven't seen any official confirmation from either Brighton or Palace on socials that Brighton Palace game is definitely going to the Sunday. I think people have assumed it would because the Premier League stated in their TV announcement that it would move to the Sunday if Palace or Brighton progressed in the Carabao Cup. Yeah, I've not seen anything from Palace here either. So I've not seen it confirmed. Unless the Premier League had confirmed. I don't know why the clubs wouldn't have put it on social. I still think Brighton Palace will end up 12:30 on the Saturday. Arsenal Palace will be the Tuesday night. And Tottenham Man United will be the Wednesday night. And I think that sorts it all out. Genuinely. Just move Brighton Palace and then it's sorted. But don't give me a job, Premier League. Like, it's too easy, innit? James Morgan, any update from the cartel? No, not any pingers in the WhatsApp today, or not any that I can share, obviously, anyway. Mustafa Gaming says James is the inspiration for no Salah Haaland. Play it your way, kids. Greg Frost, Saka is quite bright, also doesn't really sound like a scientist. Get Cole Palmer in the Ghostbusters, that would be interesting. Talking of which, the team should be out now, shouldn't they? Let's have a look for these Newcastle and Arsenal lineups. So we start with Newcastle. Isak is in the team. So too Anthony Gordon. Start for Joe Willock. Sandro Tonali is a substitute. Something looks off with that Newcastle team. Oh, Longstaff as well. So I'm going to get maybe Willock right-sided forward for Newcastle, maybe. One to keep an eye on. Probably what that is, I think. Or it could be Joel Linton in the front three and Willock in the midfield. Or they're changing the system and go 4-4-2. That's also a possibility. For Arsenal, Gabriel plays as expected. In fact, it is the exact team that I had predicted. So Raya, Partey, a right back, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Rice, Marino, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz. Ben White is one of the substitutes, interestingly. Okay, that's your team news. FPL Spartans, Planet FPL. Ethan Pinnock is doing a degree, I believe. Who are you going to call? Ghost Frankers. Yeah, Ethan Pinnock, good shout. Lovely video last week I saw as well of Thomas Frank talking about Ethan Pinnock's 100th appearance in the Brentford dressing room. Nice that. Rookpo123. How do you think the 99 treble win United team under Ferguson would fare in the current Premier League landscape? Well, that team finished on 79 points, mate. So you tell me. What we saying that is third? Controversial opinion. It's worth saying that I think they went unbeaten from what? I think they lost home to Middlesbrough in kind of early December and went unbeaten pretty much in every competition from there on. So, yeah, the 79 points is quite harsh because I think they probably were about 5th or 6th at that point, maybe even. So, yeah, they'd be up there. Brilliant team, mate. Donnie says, folks, get liking before heading out. Yeah, smash a like, please, people. Rock Pice has always found it interesting that under Fergie, United only hit 90 points 3 times. And once with 42 games, rarely scored enough points to win it these days. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Georgie says, thoughts on who's relegating? 3 promoted teams, unfortunately, I think. Mustafa says, likes and more likes, hit the like button, thank you. And David James Whiteway says, hi James, I used to be addicted to doing the hokey cockney, but I turned myself around. Do you mean the hokey cokey or cockney rhyming slang? I don't know, but on that bombshell, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, guys, really appreciated. Thank you for your contributions in the chat. The stream generally doesn't work without the contributions, and those who stay at the end are the more important ones. So thank you very much, guys. Smash a like, hit the sub button. Have a great weekend. Hope your arrows are green. Clayton will be with me for the Game Review podcast on Monday. Support the show on Patreon. Ciao for now, everyone.